Welcome to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Alston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM. You can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. And we are enjoying this week, and we'll enjoy more of it next week, our interview with Scott Schaefer Duffy, telling us all about his experiences in the Catholic worker movement. We're going to talk today about even how his experiences had led him to other countries. We're going to talk about that. By the way, he's the author of 4 books. One of them is called Nothing is Impossible. And then there are 3 Catholic worker mysteries: Haunted, The Man Who Could Not Be Killed, and Murder on Mott Street. All of them are published by Haley's Publishers, which, by the way, is based here in Massachusetts, Athol, Massachusetts. And he says they are available in various places, including, I'm sure, online. So anyway, that's several books: Murder on Mott Street, a Catholic worker mystery; The Man Who Cannot Be Killed, and Haunted, which are also Catholic worker mysteries; and Nothing is Impossible by Scott Schaefer Duffy. So anyway, we're going to return to the 4th part of our interview, where he talks about his continued experiences, even leading him to, of all places, Nicaragua. So we'll talk about that as well. So let's switch over to my interview with Scott Schaefer Duffy of the Catholic Worker House in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Another woman came to work, a former Benedictine nun came to the women's house, and she stayed for 4 months. And then she said she was leaving, and I said, "Why are you leaving?" She said, "The poverty I can take. The work I can take." She said, "I just realized I don't like the poor."
Oh, wow.
She said, "I just don't like them."
Oh, wow.
And, anyway, another woman came to volunteer there. And then a young man came to volunteer at our house, Carl Siciliano. Wonderful. He was only 18. He had lied about his age. He told us he was 19. He came down. He was actually just graduated high school early. And I was only 22, but I thought he was a child. Oh, wow. And he was super spiritual and very much into Thomas Merton and so on. A wonderfully interesting guy. And we walked to prayer each morning together. And a very musical person. And we were at the house for quite some time. And Claire and I split the reception job at Sojourner's Magazine. And so I went to meet her at the magazine. They had moved over to Brooklyn by Catholic U. They had moved the office over. I went over to walk her home one day. And and it started raining when we walked out. So I had a blue sweatshirt. I gave it to Claire. And I went inside, got a trash bag, punched holes in it, and put it on. And we started walking. We'd gone maybe a block, and there was a park there. And I turned to Claire, and I said, "Claire, will you marry me?" I'd known her 3.5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
3.5 weeks.
And you've been married for how long?
38 years.
Wow.
And she looks over at me, and a stranger goes by. She says, "This man just asked me to marry him." He said, "What do you think?" And he says, "A lot of marriages end in divorce." And she goes, "But what do you think?" And then he says, "Well, do you love each other?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, go for it."
Isn't that something?
And he said yes to me. Not her. The stranger said yes. Wow. So we were engaged. And anyway, over the course of the next so many months, we were at the house. We had all kinds of experiences. I woke up one night with a rat on my chest.
Oh, yeah.
We were robbed maybe 200 times. Oh. One time we were outside. One of our guests was drunk and had been fallen and was waiting for an ambulance. It hit his head. And somebody says, "Oh, somebody's pulling a roller bed out of your house." Oh. And I went over to the men's house, and this guy, his name was Poo Poo. Everybody called him Poo Poo. But he was no poo-poo. He was the tough neighborhood mafia, really tough guy. And he's pushing this rollaway bed down the alley. And I went over to him and I said, "What's going on?" He said, one of your guys sold it to me, which was believable. And I said, if it were my bed, you could have it, but it's Calvin's bed, and I'm sleeping on the floor, and there's rats. So let's push the bed back. I'll get your money back. He goes, well, you go get the money back. I'll stay here. And I said, well, being nonviolent doesn't mean stupid. If I go back, he's going to take the bed away. I said, no, I'm going to take the bed back now.
Yeah.
I said, you can come with me. He says, no, you're not. And he hit me.
No, really?
And he hit me pretty hard. And I fell down, and I got back up, and I'm standing there, and he looks at me, and he looks surprised that I didn't hit him back, and I didn't run away.
Because of the nonviolence.
Yeah, and then I said, I'm thinking, oh, the victory of nonviolence.
Yeah.
But he hit me again. Not as hard. And I got up this time. Now I'm really shaken. And he looks to the ground. I look to the ground. There's a piece of old board there with a rusty nail in it. He sees it, and I said, oh, this day is going to hell.
Yeah.
And at this point, a police car pulls up the end of the aisle, under the alley with the lights on. It's pretty far. And he goes, oh, you can put the cops on me. I said, we don't need the police to resolve this. I said, it's Calvin's bed. I turned my back on him. I thought I was going to feel that knife, that nail raking down my back. And it didn't. Well, the funny thing is, 2 days later, Carl and I got sentenced to 3 days in jail for a demonstration at the Capitol Rotunda. 3 days, good grief. And while we were waiting to get processed into the D.C. jail, we saw Poo-Poo had gotten a 3-month sentence for breaking an entry. Oh, he was my cellmate.
No, really? Did you become friends?
No, not really. But I thought it was really good. I didn't do anything else to him in that alley.
Oh, isn't that something?
Yeah. So,
wow.
But there were all kinds of crazy things that happened there, and just grace-filled things. And one person came to the house once and said, why do you give all the food away? Why don't you save it for the next day? And I said, do you have a second hand on your watch? She said, yes. I said, let me have that 5-pound bag of sugar you have. We put it on the kitchen table. I said, let's go upstairs. In 3 minutes, check it on your watch. We come down. If you can find that bag of sugar, I'll give you the deed to the house.
Oh, wow.
We went upstairs, came down, gone, stolen. I said, that's why we give it away.
That's so funny.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it was tough.
This is just a fascinating whole history of that. And this, I'm sure, a lot of other Catholic worker movement houses, you'd have similar stories.
Oh, the up and down of Catholic workers. I've been to many houses since, to 20, 30 communities. I know a lot of that. But anyway, over the course of this time, we did civil disobedience once. We got 7 days in jail. And
is this mostly for nuclear weapons?
Yes, mostly. Mm-hmm. Although Central America issues too at that point. Mm-hmm. Claire and I went to Nicaragua with another Catholic worker from upstate New York. We actually went we saw Henry Nouwen speak at George Washington University. And one of the things he said is he had gone down to Nicaragua, to this town, Ocotal. And while he was there, this is during the Contra attacking the Sandinistas, he said while he was there, he thought there would be a lot of violence, but there wasn't any at all. And he asked the people why, and they said, well, both sides know there's an American here, and nobody wants to do anything in front of an American. Wow. And Claire said after the talk, we got to go ask him something. She drags us through the crowd. She buttonholes Nouwen. It's a big arena with several thousand people. She says, what you said about being an American, do you think that was because you're a famous person, or would any American citizen be able to have that same impact? He said, they didn't know who I was. It's just that I was an American. So with Carl's help, he had gotten a small inheritance. We went to Nicaragua to go to the border of Nicaragua and Honduras to be human shields and stop the war.
Wow.
And it was quite the experience. We learned an awful lot of things down there, and everybody told us it was going to be impossible, but we met these Maryknoll nuns, and we had all kinds of experience. Wow. It was really quite instructive, and it has influenced a lot of my international peace work since then.
And of course, we will continue our interview with Scott Schaefer Duffy next week. We're going to be hearing him on Tuesday through Friday next week as well. On Mondays, you hear my homily. So that's what's coming up next week. We're here every single Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM. You can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com and your favorite podcast platform. Just look for Catholic Audio Media Podcast. In the meantime, have a blessed weekend. We'll see you Monday. Have you told anyone else about the voice of St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, here on WROL at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and through CatholicAudiomedia.com? You realize we are a different Catholic program because we are not speaking just to Catholics. We speak to ex-Catholics, atheists, evangelicals, and people from all different religious and non-religious backgrounds. We do this from a Catholic perspective. So you're not going to hear what you hear on other programs because we have a different mission serving Jesus Christ. Tell your friends what we do here is different, and it is so that we all may experience Jesus, who sets us all free. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation through the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.